Hello, my friends. Today I thought I would try something a little different. I've had quite a few people reach out to me and let me know that they like my voice and wish I would read them stories. So I thought today I would share some of my dream journal. I have been enjoying having my fella Cyrus read to me every night from this book called The Three Only Things by Robert Moss about dreams, coincidence, and imagination. And it has been really opening up my already vivid dream life. When I dream like it's a movie. I've always dreamed this deeply. I feel it, I smell it, I taste it, I hear it. I am completely in the moment in my dreams, and I wake up feeling like I just watched a feature-length film. The other day I had an incredible dream, and I thought I would share it with you and then share my thoughts on what I got from my dream. And I'm curious if my dream resonates with any of you, and if you have any thoughts on what it might have been saying to me. I'm going to share my dream world with you. March 23rd, 2023. My dream. I was walking alone at a park in Arizona. It was hot, but I found shade in the shadow cast by the rock formations and sat down to rest. While taking a break and just letting myself be still, I noticed something weird in the sand, so I got closer to investigate. It was a frayed end of a small rope sticking out from the sand. I was curious to see where it went, so I pulled on it, and it came easily up through the sand. I started pulling it up and following it as more of it appeared. It was easy at first, and after nearly a full mile of rope, I came to a place where it was buried between two thorn-filled cacti bushes and was immediately frustrated when I realized there was no way to continue following it. If I had attempted to, I would have been torn into a bloody mess. I sat for a while in anger and started beating myself up for being stupid, for following a rope in the sand for so long and too dumb to figure out how to continue, because now I was very invested and determined to see where it led to and what it was at the other end. After I calmed myself down a while, I realized I could pull the rope up and sort of flip it upward, a little at a time, so it at least got toward the surface so I could see where it might come out on the other side, if I could find a way around the giant thorny bushes. After what seemed like hours, I had done just that, and could see it sticking out on the other side. So I climbed some sort of rock formation and then shimmied down into the back side of the bushes, which were in the entrance of a canyon. I found the rope and continued pulling it up and following it as I walked, while leaving it behind me, laying atop the sand so I could find my way back once I reached the end. I remember laughing to myself, wondering if this was just leading to something boring, or nothing at all, or if I was just about to find some incredible treasure. I kept pulling and walking with various stops to have to figure out how to get up and around obstacles. I walked for miles and miles, and it just kept going. Finally, it led me to the edge of this insanely raging river, and I could see the rope on the bottom, but it was too heavy to pull. Now, with the weight of the water and the current, it was impossible. I was so frustrated I started crying, and angry, so I started throwing rocks and screaming. I came all that way only to be stuck. I started making up stories in my head about the cruel person who had done this, leading me to a no-win situation, and a wild goose chase, for pure entertainment to see what idiot would follow their rope for miles and through obstacles. I imagined that they were somewhere nearby, watching or filming me, being pissed off and throwing a tantrum, that there probably wasn't even anything cool at the end at all, and I did all of this for nothing. I sat down on the edge of the river, defeated, but still holding the rope in my hands. I closed my eyes and cried off and on, feeling stupid for still sitting there and being too stubborn to turn back without my answer. What the hell was this rope for, and what was at the end? I shouted. I stayed there for 3 days by the river, holding that rope. Sometimes I would wade into the water or sit in the water to cool down, or backtrack a little to sit in the shade. I kept pulling on the rope, hoping I'd somehow get it to pull up, but the river was too deep and it just would not budge. On the third day, as I was sitting there holding the rope, I felt it tugged from behind me, and I turned to see what was happening. In the distance, I saw a large group of about 10 people coming towards me. They were laughing and joking about finding treasures at the end of this rope. They were having so much fun, and I just kept thinking, boy, are they gonna be mad. In no time at all, they reached me and asked if I had followed the rope there too, and I said yes, and shared my story about seeing it sticking up out of the sand and how I had to keep pulling it up. My trials with bushes and obstacles and thorns, and finally reaching this point where it was impossible to go further. They were all shocked that I had spent so much time digging out the rope from the sand, and commented how strong and determined I must be to work so hard on something I had no idea if it would even be worth it. That if I hadn't uprooted the rope, they never would have noticed or had this miles-long adventure together, and a fun memory to share with others and to look back on. They thanked me for pulling the rope to get them started, and when I told them I was sorry that it just led to the river that was going to keep us all wondering where the rope actually ended, they just kind of looked at me funny, and the leader said, "Maybe the river is the end." After all, the rope took us through the hot desert, and here we are at this beautiful river to cool down with, fish if we wanted, or just camp and enjoy the view and sounds. I had been so blinded by my frustration of not getting to see where the rest of the rope led to that I lost 3 days of enjoying sitting by a beautiful river in the middle of a hot desert. I hadn't fully enjoyed where I was, the wildlife I had seen, the sounds of birds and the breeze, or the water flowing. I hadn't fully enjoyed the experience in the moment because I was too focused on what I thought was an obstacle when really, maybe, the river was the prize after all. Instead of enjoying the walk, the journey, and the views, I was too focused on the rope in my hand and what disappointment or treasure was at the end. Had I just pulled the rope up and focused on where I was in any given time, I wouldn't have missed the beauty I walked right through. I wouldn't have missed the clouds in the sky, the sunset, and all of the other beautiful things I passed that day. Soon, the group went around me to see if they could pull the rope up. One at a time, they each tried. I kept telling them it was useless, but they didn't listen. Eventually, the smallest woman in their group had an idea to get on the shoulders of the tallest man and pull up from there. Once on his shoulders, she was able to get the rope to pull up out of the water a bit, and we all cheered. I was so excited and felt a whole new rush of determination. We all worked together to pull the line for her, and she and the taller man kept taking steps backward until they got to a tall tree where the woman climbed up to the tallest branch with the rope and wrapped it around so we could go to the rope and all together pull it until it came up out of the water on the other side of the river. It was amazing. We tied it off and then took turns using it as a zip line to get across the river. I was the last one to go. I am terrified of heights, and the thought of climbing that tree, let alone zip-lining across, was too much to handle. I tried multiple times to get myself to go, but the fear was too big. I told them not to wait for me, but they didn't listen, and just kept cheering me on. I started my climb, and had to stop multiple times to calm myself. They just kept cheering me on, and waiting for me. I felt like a burden, that I was taking too long, keeping them from adventures, and they were no doubt frustrated with me and probably resentful or angry. But their faces seemed anything but happy and excited that I had even tried. I laughed as they banded together to do silly dances as my cheerleaders and seemed to just be having a whole lot of fun, despite me taking so long to cross. Eventually, I got to the rope and looked down from the top of the tree to the riverbank on the other side where they were. It wasn't until I got to the top where I could see for miles that I saw how beautiful and green and grassy it was over there. They were enjoying walking barefoot in the cool grass and jumping up and down in excited joy for me having faced my fear and made it to the top. Then suddenly, I wasn't afraid of what came next. I wrapped my shirt over the rope and zip-lined over the river. It was beautiful. The wind in my face, the water below, and the sky above with strangers dancing in joy in beautiful grass as I made my way across, laughing and feeling joy fill my whole body. I let go of my shirt that I had used to zip line across and felt them all pick me up out of the grass. 10 sets of hands reaching for me to hug me, pat my back, and clapping for me felt amazing. It was incredible, and in that moment, I felt like I could do anything scary or hard if I could only have such a supportive and loving group of people like that in my life all the time. I felt the cool grass in between my toes and forgot all about the rope because everyone was dancing with joy and I joined them. I woke up then, so I have no idea where the rope led or where it ended, but I did realize that I have some very strong messages in my dream. 1. Stop worrying about the future or the end, and enjoy the now, or I will miss out on the beauty I encounter that is happening in the now. 2. Things I do that might feel pointless to me in the moment may actually help other people in the long run. If I hadn't pulled the rope out of my own curiosity, this group wouldn't have had this epic adventure together. 3. I have been reliant on myself for so long and alone for so long that it is still hard for me to feel like I belong to a group or community and not feel like they'd much rather pass me by than include me. 4. Having a community of friends to support you, help you, and give you different perspectives is a gift. 5. I spend a lot of time making up stories about how other people are feeling about me, that they see me as a burden, annoying, or frustrating instead of seeing them as loving me even when I struggle with things. 6. I am still very mean to myself, telling myself that I am not capable or I am too dumb to figure things out. I am smart, and I can find a way eventually. 7. Sometimes what you expect to find at the end of the rope isn't a thing, but an experience. Especially when you stop focusing on what you imagine is at the end of the rope and allow yourself to enjoy the journey, because maybe that is the treasure itself. Maybe there is no end to the rope you pull. Maybe the point of the rope is to take you on a beautiful journey you never would have experienced if you hadn't been curious enough to see where the rope might lead you. The end. There you go. One of my favorite dreams from my dream journal. I would love to hear what you would get from a dream like that if it was your dream. I am learning that it is very important to interpret my own dreams, but I love hearing what other people have to say and getting advice and insight from other people. So, if you have some insight or you study dreams or you saw something else in my dream that you think might be an awesome message for me, I would love to hear from you and have you comment and leave me your thoughts. If you are interested in hearing more of my dream journal stories, let me know and I will do another video. I've been having some crazy dreams lately, and it's been really cool to see how they kind of intertwine with Cyrus's dreams once in a while. More on that later, but yeah, it has been such a great gift to have. Oh, excuse me. Anyways, I will leave a link to the book in the description of the video. I highly recommend it if you are interested in this kind of thing. It is a wonderful read. It has really opened up my dream experience the last few weeks. I hope you enjoyed my dream and it spoke to you somehow, and that you will come back and check out my other videos. I have some adventures coming up. If you would like more dream journal stories, just say so in the comments below and I will share some more. I have some pretty crazy dreams that have been happening lately and I am happy to share them with you. Thank you for following along and subscribing. If you hit that little bell button down there somewhere, it will send you notifications in your email when I post next. Otherwise, just thank you for stopping by and checking out my channel. I hope you have an amazing, beautiful day, week, month, year, life! Alright, you know what time it is. It's time to dance. Stay weird, friends.